If you want to create legendary memories, lifelong impact, and improve your client retention, this episode is for you. Today, I'm going to show you how to plan, execute, and run a member appreciation event that your clients will love, that will make a lifelong impact on their lives and make your gym stickier and a place that they never want to leave. That's right, I'm going to give you the entire end-to-end playbook on our annual Gagey Awards ceremony and how you can install this in your business and model it the way that fits your community to make the impact that you want. Let's dive in. So this episode is going to be very, very, very tactical. So I would recommend take notes, because I'm going to teach you end to end how to promote and run and execute this event for your community. Full disclosure, this is something that I'm putting together for my internal team. We're doing these events across all of our Engage Personal Training locations, and we're going to use this episode as a way to instruct them on how they can put this thing together for their communities. So I figure it's a great topic for the podcast, because those listening probably have a gym that they want to do this for as well. So let's first zoom out. What is this event that I'm talking about? So for 14 years in a row, we have run a member appreciation event, which has come to be known as the Gagey Awards. Now, I'm not going to go into the long backstory, but essentially, my first year in business, I had about 40, 50 members, and I wanted to do a social event for them. And I recalled an episode of the show The Office where they did the Dundee Awards. And if you're a fan of the show, you'll know what I'm talking about. But if not, they got drunk at a Chili's and gave funny awards to their clients or for their employees. And it was just a really funny concept that I wanted to steal for my business. And that's what we did. So we created the Gagey Awards. And it was exactly that early on. We went to a Mexican restaurant, we rented out the second level bar, we got drunk, we gave out funny awards, and every year we decided to continue doing this event. And every year it just got a little bit more advanced, a little bit bigger and more complex, until now it's a full-blown extravaganza. I mean, we do a DJ, open bar, a full sit-down dinner. We do photographer, videographer, a red carpet. We go all out. And that's what I want to show you how to do today. I want to teach you how we plan, promote, and run this event, and then allow you to take whatever bits and pieces that you want to install for yourself to run an event like this. So let's get into it. So I'll give you the big picture of what this event is for us and the meaning behind this event. So the most important thing for us is that this event is to celebrate our community. It's to serve as a recognition mechanism for our clients and community, and everything should be centered around that. What that means is the way that we run this event is every single member gets an award. Now, there's other ways that you could run this. You could do, categories and nominations and one person per category. The way that we do it, based on what we want the outcome to be, is every member gets an award. And we want to, kind of create an experience around that. All right. Number two, when we think big picture, is this is not a revenue generating event. Now, we've made a little bit of money on this in the past, and I'll explain how later on. But overall, we just don't want to lose money. All right. So while this is not a revenue generating event, we don't want to come out of pocket for much, although sometimes we do. And again, it's kind of the way the cookie crumbles sometimes, where you got to spend money with the understanding that the goal is long-term retention and people that are more inclined to refer and tell friends and write reviews, right? There's a lot of secondary benefits to doing something like this. So now that you know how we set up our event and the goals that we have as for my companies, it's important for you to understand what you want to get from an event like this. If you want to start this great tradition that we've started in your business, just come up with a decision. Like, do you want something to be, where it's a little more exclusive and there are one winner per category? Or if you want everybody to win an award, Some people might think that's kind of a participation trophy culture. I don't really care, because for us, it's more about, recognizing our clients that are all worthy of recognition in some capacity, and from a business standpoint, taking up real estate in their home with giving them something to take home that they can remember us fondly by. All right, so let's get into the tactics. So step one with organizing an event like this for yourself is really getting clear on the vision and purpose for you running this event. I'm not saying that everybody needs to do this. This is really for those that really focus on community and want to be something bigger than just like a revenue generating machine of a business. All right. And I know that's maybe sounds a little corny, but in my business, our tagline is Little Gym, Big Heart. A community focus is like one of the most important things to our business strategy. And that's kind of the way we want to run this event. So really think about what is the vision you have and why you would want to run this event. What is the purpose for you to run an event like this? Because it is a lot of work. And if you're not in line with this from like a vision standpoint, and there's not a strong purpose or reason behind it, it's going to just be more work than it's worth. And if you have a strong purpose and if you've got a really good reason to run this event, a lot of other things start to fall in place and a lot of other things start to click. So like many things in business, it all needs to start with your vision. So put pen to paper and just think, if I ran an event, what's the impact I want my members to have? What do I want them leaving feeling? How do I want this event to go? And what does this do for me in the big picture? That's how you create the vision, and what I would recommend you starting with for this event. Number two, most important thing is put a date on the calendar. If you've decided that this is the route you want to go and you want to do this for your community, pull the trigger, put a date on the calendar. All right. All these other things are going to fall into place when you commit to a date on the calendar. So I would recommend 4 months out. If this is your first time running it, 4 months out is a really, really good timeline to put a date on a calendar. So if this is what you want to do, I recommend stop the video right now, pull out your calendar and put a date on that bad boy right now. So put the date on the calendar. There's a law in business called Parkinson's Law, which states all work fills the time given to completion. We work really well with deadlines. So the first step is to just put a date on that bad boy, and now you're going to be off to the races. Step number 3, let's start thinking about what the attendance might look like. This is going to vary based on the size of your business, based on the culture that you have, but I'll give you some context into us. So I've got multiple businesses. Gauge Strength Training is our big, cash cow of a business. We've got 450 plus members, 400 or so adult members. So when we run this event, it's ranged anywhere from 100 to 220 attendees per event. So on the low end, we get about 100 people. On the high end, I think our most successful one we've ever done was 220 plus. All right. So that might give you a little context. Now, our most successful one on the Engage side, with a gym that had 120 members, had about 60, 70 people attend. So I can't give you like a percentage of your members. It has everything to do with your culture, but just try to get a ballpark and set a goal for how many people you want to attend. For us, the goal is we aim for 150 every year. That's would be a huge success for us to do 150 attendees. So think through based on how many members you have, based on who might bring a guest, and how many people you expect to attend to an event like this. Start getting an idea of how many people it is, because that leads us to the next stage, which is choosing a venue. So now we've got to choose a venue for this event. Now, we've never done it at the gym. Some people want to do it at the gym. That's totally fine. I would say maybe add a little production value and some decor and really dress up the gym so it feels a little different. But I'll give you kind of the timeline for us and some of the event venues that we've done. The first time was at a Mexican restaurant that had a private event space, small bar. Year 2 was at a little bit of a bigger bar in the downstairs area where they host events, but it was just a bar setting. From there on out, we went to a conference center in our downtown little borough. And that holds about 200 people. We did that for about 10 years. Then we switched to a local church, which was always kind of funny to be partying at a church. And did that for a few years. This year we went back to that conference center. But once you have the expected number of attendees, I would say start looking at local venues. You're going to look at things like firehouses, local conference centers. Maybe there's a hotel with a conference center. Or if you want to like really bootstrap it, you could just do it at your gym if you have a big enough and conducive enough space. Now, we should start talking budget on the venue as well. So when you're looking at budgeting, venues can be very expensive if you're looking at like real event venues and party venues. But for us, I look at $1,000 to $2,000 for the night. And, it's kind of a half day venue rental, which would be like, 5 to 11 p.m. So that's what we look for when we look for a venue. I want a big open space. I want room for food, a bar. We can set up tables for people to sit down, some high tops. Maybe you want a stage to present on where you hand out the awards. So that's kind of what you want from the venue space that you're choosing. The most important thing is that it can hold the number of attendees that you're expecting. Now, you've got your venue, you've got an idea for what you want to be doing with this event. Now let's talk about the promotion strategy around this event. So there's really two ways that you could do this, and I'll share both ways that we've done in the past. So really the first decision you want to make is this a free event that you're going to run for members, or do you want to sell tickets to this event? So the first time we ever did it, it was free. We didn't worry about it. I had no idea what it was going to be. And honestly, for those running this for the first time, I would make this a free event. You're going to lose money on it. I'll give you some other ways that we generate revenue. But your goal, if you want to make this a tradition, if you really want to make this stick, you want to lower the barrier to entry as much as possible. So I would encourage you, if this is your first time, make it free to attend. Now you need reservations because you need a head count for food and all that, but make it free or like incredibly cheap, like $10, maybe $20. Any friction, because people don't know what this is. We've been doing this 14 years. People still don't really know what it is if they've never been. So there is a friction point when it comes to buying a ticket for an event that is really kind of like, they're like, what are we doing? This is a gym thing. Like, it's not something that normal people, like people would normally have done in the past. All right. So that's my first piece of advice. If this is your first time and you really want to make this like a long-term tradition, you want to get as many people at the first one as possible. Making it free will help you do so. Okay. Now, if you do want to charge for the event, you essentially just want to know what's the what's the cost per head going to be, right? Based on, how many people you're going to attend, the cost of the venue, the food, the drink selection. Just make a ballpark on what it's going to cost so that you don't lose money on hosting this event. Now for us at this point, we charge $80 per ticket. And what that gets you is we do a full open bar with top shelf liquor. We do catering by a really nice Italian restaurant in town where they do like a full meal. And we have photographers, we have awards for every member. We have a DJ that comes out. And essentially like that covers the cost per head and most of kind of that expense structure. But again, make a commitment. Is this going to be free, which I would recommend on your first one, super cheap, which I would also recommend, or do you want to charge for it? Okay. Now you could get fancy. We've never done this, but you could get fancy with like VIP tickets where maybe there's seating versus non-seating or standing room versus whatever. You'll probably sell a discrepancy with that. But that's the decision you want to make. So we charge tickets just because this event ends up costing a good amount of money at this point in history because we try to go bigger every single year. But for you, just make that decision. And on that, the purpose, again, is not necessarily to make a profit. It is just not to lose money on this event, all right? Which, I'll be honest, we typically lose some money on this event. Now, let's talk about promoting and filling this event for your gym, AKA the fun part. So just to recap, at this point, you've put a date on a calendar, you've got a vision for what you want to do, you've selected a venue, you've decided whether you're going to get tickets have free entry or you're going to sell tickets. Now, let's just get all of your assets together. All right. So it would be great if you hit all the different pieces of real estate in your business with promotion. So flyers in every room at the gym and the bathrooms. You should have a banner promoting the event with a QR code to register. You should post in your Facebook members group about the event, making a big announcement about it. You should email your list. You should use all the communication threads, okay? It's important to also let people know they can invite friends and family to this. That's always a really good way to have like spouses and close family members see what happens at the gym and maybe want to join, which we've done a lot of in the past too. So that's, the first thing is let's just collect some assets. Let's make a bunch of social media posts. Let's make a countdown for the final 30 days. Let's build some, map out the marketing plan to promote this event and build some hype and excitement around it. If you've got staff members, ask them to participate, ask them to film videos and do posts. There's all kinds of fun stuff that you could do to promote an event like this. So I'd encourage you to map out, your 6-week, 8-week marketing strategy for this event, hitting all the different real estate pieces like your email list, your Facebook page, your Facebook group, making a Facebook event and a registration page for, reserving a spot at the event. And I would recommend promoting this, 6 to 8 weeks out. Too far out, you're just not going to get all that much excitement. Too soon, people might have already made plans. So 6 to 8 weeks out is a really good time to start mapping this event out. All right. So now that you've got the promotions in play and you're ready to start marketing this event, now it's time to actually start building the structure of the night. And that means assigning the awards. So again, there's ways that you could do this differently than me. This is how I do it. I'm not claiming it's the best way or the way everybody should do it. But this is the way myself and my company has chosen to go about our award ceremony. So take it or leave it. Like I said, we do an award for every single member. Okay. If you're brand new, you get an award. If you're, super inconsistent, you still get an award. Okay, every single member gets an award, and we have the awards ready to give out on the night of. So how do we do it? At 400 adult members, how do we assign awards? So the first year that we ever did this, every single member got a unique award. Like I said, we only had 40 people. So, and this is before ChatGPT. And I was just like, that person's got great energy. They win the energy award. This person's super hardworking. They win the hardest working. That's kind of how we did it. And I had paper certificates made with their name. I signed all of them and we gave them out. Now, that worked in year 1. Year 2 and beyond, when we had 100 plus attendees or members at least, we couldn't do that because there just wasn't the ability to make a totally custom award for every single person. So we moved to categories of awards. So essentially we made 10 to 20 award categories that were hardest working, most consistent, best energy, most fun, community award, all of the categories that you would think. Easy enough, use ChatGPT to come up with gym award categories that you could use. And this, that's kind of how we ran with it over the years. So at this point, the way we structure it is we have 15, we call them tier 1 awards. And like I said, that's the basic, most energy, hardest working. We have one called the Grit Award for people that have persevered through hard things. Those are our tier 1 awards, and there's about 15 categories. So how many categories do you need? Well, the answer is more to do with how many members you have. So it's gone up for us over the years. My thing is I don't want to have 50 people in an award category. So we aim for total membership divided by, we don't want more than 20 people per category generally. So how many, award categories? It's about 15 for us, if that makes sense. So we just need to then go through our entire member list and assign every client to an award. Here's how you're gonna do it if you want me to get really tactical. You're just gonna make an Excel sheet with the name of every member. You're gonna have a drop down in the next column with all the award categories in there. And then you're gonna have another column with another drop down with every award category in there. The reason is the first pass through, you're gonna give them a primary award, and then you're gonna count up how many are in each award category. So if you see, you're like, oh wow, the hardest working has like 50 people in it. That's why you go through and you do a secondary award, so that you can start being like, all right, we first wanted them hardest working, but let's give them overall strongest. All right. So just a way to like help you make sure you don't overfill an award, give everybody a primary and a secondary so that you can balance those out. I hope that makes sense. So that's how you're going to start categorizing all of your members into an award. Now, the next thing that we do is what's called the Tier 2 awards. So these are something that they change every year, and we try to make that a little bit special and do a little bit more production, a little bit more fun behind these. But these are something like a little bit more special than just getting a certificate on the night of. So again, we've done this a bunch of different categories, but we'll usually get either a wooden plaque or a glass, award, a crystal award for these categories. And we'll usually choose like 5 people per category. So one of the big ones that we do is the Members' Choice, where in the weeks leading up to the event, we run a survey and we say, hey, vote for who you want to win the Members' Choice Award. And all the members vote. We aim for 100 votes just to have enough people. For you, it's going to be different, but try to gather as many votes as you can to make it like this is like a real Members' Choice Award winner. All right. And that's going to be a special thing. We generally give that to the top 2 to 5 people that win it. So, we do a male and a female Members' Choice Award winner. So that's kind of the Tier 2 awards. We do a few other categories. It's not worth going into for this podcast, but just think like, what are things that are unique to you? And then the final thing, our last biggest award is what's called the Man and Woman of the Year. Now, I'll tell you what. These are really, really special. This is something that everybody is very excited about, where the staff and us select, the one male and the one female member that have just been exceptional people in our community. They show up, they work hard, they embody everything that it means to be a member of our gym. I'm sure you have that checklist for your business that people could fall into. I'm sure you do. The people that everybody loves, but not only the coaches love, but other members love them, and they show up for other people and they challenge other people. And they're just that like penultimate member of your community that you wish that you could duplicate over and over and over. Now there are factors like tenure, that's a big factor here. Like we like to give it to people that have been here for more than, 6, 7, 8 years for us. And then the last part of this is the person that kind of needs it. Maybe they need to, this is going to be a really impactful thing for them based on who they are, because you're going to have people that they've been with you for 10 years. They show up every day. Everyone loves them, but this isn't their life. The gym is not their life. This wouldn't really transform their life to win an award like this. So I would be lying if I didn't say that played a part in our selection. Is this going to change this person's life and really be a pivotal memory in their life? And I can honestly say, over the years, we've made some amazing selections and people that still recall this. We've got people that have had gauge strength training tattoos after winning. It's something that can have really make an impact on a client's life. So take that award seriously. If you do nothing else, I would say, really think about choosing a Man and Woman of the Year and go all out. The way we do it, just to stay on the awards category, is we do a paper certificate for every member. We do something like a plaque for the Tier 2, and that's in addition to the paper. And then the Man and Woman of the Year, the male, we get a custom varsity jacket made. So it's a gauge strength training varsity jacket with their name embroidered on it. And we get that through a company called Stag Wears. And then for the woman, we do a custom piece of jewelry, a necklace that has their name and Woman of the Year written on it. And we do a sash and tiara and kind of, again, we've gotten a little bit of crap about the discrepancy between a varsity jacket and a sash, it is what it is. It's what we've done, and it's worked for us over the years. And that's kind of how we go all out. Now, in addition to the actual, we give them these things, what we also do, and this is where it becomes very, very special, is when we identify a man and woman of the year, what I'll do is I will personally reach out to all of the closest family members that I can identify for this person. So I would reach out to their husband or wife, maybe to their parents if they're listed on their Facebook profile or something. And I would send them a list. I would say, hey, this person that you care about is winning this award. We would love your help in celebrating them. Would you submit a 60-second video telling us 3 things? Number 1, what is one word or sentence to describe this person to you? Number 2 is what makes this person worthy of this award? And number 3 is what would you like to tell them right now? So we elicit these videos or request these videos from people, and the family members usually take this really seriously. They'll call cousins and family friends and people that, the person never would have expected us to get in touch with, and we'll put them all into a Google Drive. We'll have all the staff members film a video about how great this person is and how much we love and care about them. And we'll usually have some of their members submit a video as well. So once we get all the videos, we chop it all up. We add some emotional background music to it, which is just the icing on the cake. And we create usually like a 5 to 6 minute little reel of all of this, like people pouring love and affection and how great this person is. And when we call their name to win this award, the room erupts, everyone's clapping, we put the jacket on them or the stuff on them, we have them sit right in front of the room, and we play this video in front of the whole room. And I'll tell you what, there is not a dry eye in the house every single year. I mean, people that don't even know these people are crying about, how much this person has impacted other lives, everything that they've overcome. Generally, again, you're choosing people that are very inspiring. Maybe they've overcome cancer. Maybe they've had some incredible transformation in their body or in their lifestyle. Maybe they've been just an amazing part of the community and people want to share their appreciation. But this is an opportunity to do something really, really, really special for the people that you choose. So it usually is very emotional and really meaningful for these people. So that's kind of how you structure the awards part of this night, right? You're going to dump all of your members in here. You're going to select what categories, 10 to 15 award categories, and you're just going to put people into those categories. And then the most important is you're choosing the man and woman of the year for this event. And then you're going to do all the, you're going to collect all the videos, and importantly, you're not going to let them know that you chose them. It's got to be a secret. And another thing that's really important is that the man and woman of the year show up to the event. So again, I'd be lying if I didn't say a big part of the criteria is, do these people show up to social events? Are they going to show up? And I'll tell you how big of a deal this event is. If you want just more context into this, when we announced that we were hosting the Gageys this year, we had chosen the man of the year, and he had a trip to Florida planned. So we're kind of panicking, like, this guy's not even going to be there. He's going to be the man of the year. And when he heard that the Gageys were coming up, he canceled his trip to Florida because he wanted to be at the event for a gym award ceremony event. That's how big of a deal this has become to people and how much they look forward to it every single year. And he didn't even know he was going to win. I hadn't even told his family at the time. So just goes to show how big of a deal this is for some people and what you can do for your community with running an event like this. So that's how you structure the awards section. The week prior, what I would recommend is you run through all the awards, make sure their names are spelled properly, make sure that every one of your members was accounted for. Sometimes, like, if people are on weird membership types, it doesn't show up in the Mind Body report or the report of members. So you just want to double, triple check that everyone gets one, because we have had circumstances where people were at the event and their name didn't show up on the screen and they canceled their membership. and I'm embarrassed to say that that has happened 2 times, where just an oversight, something happened, their name wasn't on the award, and they felt embarrassed, and they canceled their membership the next day. One of them happened at 3 a.m. After the bars closed. And I think it was a little bit of an emotional decision, but that's how much this can mean to people. And that's, on the flip side of like running this event where you show appreciation, if you mess it up, people are going to feel very unappreciated and maybe unhappy with you. So with great power comes great responsibility, I should say. So just make sure you double, triple check that everyone gets an award, especially everyone that attends the event gets an award. So let's talk. Now you've got the award section kind of covered. Now let's talk the additional revenue stream of this award. So like I said, we sell tickets. So we generally make $8,000 to $10,000 in revenue. That really just covers the cost of the venue and all that. The food is not cheap. For 150, 200 people is $5,000 to $7,000. The booze is another $2,000. The DJ is $300 to $500. Like, this event can be costly. So to make up some additional revenue, this is a great opportunity for sponsors. So we get sponsors for these events. So again, especially if this is your first time running the event, I would absolutely recommend getting sponsors because, like I said, I recommend it being free. Have the sponsorships pay for the majority of this, okay? So how do you get sponsors? So first, create a sponsorship list of what this event is, how many people you expect to attend, how many members that you have, and the assets that a sponsor may have access to. So what that means is the assets that we have is a social media profile with 10,000 followers. We have 30,000 people on a local email list. We have 450 members that come to the gym every single day, foot traffic, as well as the night of event where they can get exposure. So we have 3 tiers of sponsorship. The first low tier is $400. You could start maybe lower if this is your first time. The mid tier is $800. And then the highest tier is $1,000. What do they get? The low tier gets, they get to attend the events. They get 2 free tickets, so they can do some networking. They also get to put out sponsorship materials to our gym community, so they get exposure to the 400 members that we have, whatever. Tier 2, they get more exposure. So they get the 2 tickets, they get to put out materials. They also get their logo on the Step and Repeat banner. So that's the photo backdrop banner that we have for this event. They get their logo on there. We do a commercial in the event for the sponsors. So if somebody was a mid-tier sponsor, we would say a couple words about them in front of the whole room. And we generally have an offer that they've given us to extend to the membership. So we would say, hey, and they're offering a free, 10% off your next X, Y, and Z. And then the top tier sponsor gets all of that. We also generally, make the Gagey Awards presented by this company. They can attend. We usually do some email marketing for them that we post in our members group. We just really try to make it worth it for them because, again, if you want to do this every year, you want somebody to be like, man, I got some business from that event. I got some new clients from that event. So just try to think of what can you do for your sponsors that are going to make it worth doing every year. Now, like I said, we don't make a goal to make money on this event, but if you get really good at getting sponsors, there was a year that we made about $5,000 in profit from our sponsorships. So every year, that's not a huge focus. There's a lot of other factors and complexity that's not the most important thing that we do, but it can help you cover the cost and maybe even put a little bit of money in your pocket. So who do you look to for sponsors? Number 1 is your current members, all right? So we like to support local, support people inside of our community. So if you've got people in your community that are real estate agents, that are chiropractors, massage therapists, they own local restaurants, they own local businesses. That's the first person you're going to reach out to. Maybe you give them a little local or a discount on your sponsorships, like $100 off or $50 off because they're a member. And if they're going to attend, those two free tickets can pay for themselves as well. So then you're going to go outside and look to any local businesses that you have relationships with, hair salons, beauty places, nail salons, chiropractors, all these things. One of the things that we do is we kind of make it exclusive. So we only allow one business per category as a sponsor. So one restaurant, one hair salon, one chiropractor, one massage, all that. So we kind of make it have a little bit of scarcity and exclusivity and be like, hey, you will be the one business that we promote. All right. So that's, how we gather sponsors. Again, set your price based on market rate locally and what you think you could get. But it is a really good opportunity to cover the cost of this event. So the final thing here is let's just talk night of logistics. So going back to kind of the vision and why you're running this event, what you hope the outcome of this event to be is gonna detail what you need in terms of like the night of logistics. So I'll tell you what we do. We do a red carpet as people are walking in with a step and repeat banner. So we need a banner designed. We need to buy a red carpet. We need to buy a velvet rope, which we bought a couple of years. We need to book a photographer. So a photographer is another one that we get for this event. Then we have a full sit-down dinner. So we need tables and we need linens for the tables. So we just assume how many people are going to sit down to eat. We try to get as many tables as that requires. And then we need to book the food. Now we've done lower end barbecue food. We've done high end food. Again, whatever's going to match your culture, your community vibe is what you would choose. So now we generally do a nice Italian restaurant and they do, a meat, a pasta, salad, a bunch of things. So that's the way we do the food. Next, you're going to decide on your bar selection. I'm not going to tell you how to do it. You could do 2 free drink tickets in a paid bar, or because we sell tickets, we do a full top shelf open bar. And we actually do 2 different bars because people don't like to wait in line. And we do 2 different bars in the room, and basically it's the liquor choice. So use ChatGPT to plug in, like based on the number of attendees, you want like a light beer and a heavier beer. You want vodka, how many bottles of vodka, how many bottles of bourbon, wine, red, white, whatever. Just make that liquor list, give it to the caterers, or buy it yourself, which I've had to do over the years. I will say the most important thing is that you don't run out of booze, because that happened one year and people weren't happy. People were very, very upset. And food, you also don't want to run out of food. You definitely don't want to run out of food and have too much booze, because that leads to a whole other mess. All right. So identify the photographer. If you want a videographer, you could do that too. I would say like videography, we just never used the videos when we've done it. So it was kind of a waste of money. Photography, we do use and send to members and be like, hey, remember that? That was a lot of fun. You're going to want to figure out the food, identify how many people you're going, price the food out. You're going to want to figure out the booze, and then you're going to want to figure out, the total like vibe of the night, right? For us, we do kind of like cocktail attire. So women cocktail dress, men like business casual, maybe a little bit nicer. Some people wear tuxedos. Some people go all out. But that's kind of how you're going to map out the night of logistics and go back to the vision. How do you want this whole night to go start to finish? And that is essentially how you want to run your member appreciation, recognition, banquet, whatever you want to call it, for your gym, and create lifelong memories and do things for people that blow them away, which leads to long-term retention and stickiness for your brand. Not only that, a lot of times we get referrals from family members that came, friends that saw this happen, and they get really interested in what's happening in the gym. So there's an additional business benefit occurring there too. I'll finish with this. Again, if you're only doing this for the money, don't do it. It's not going to outweigh the amount of time that you're going to spend on this, the amount of money you're going to spend on this. There's a lot of other ways to generate revenue. This is not a revenue generating play, even though you could potentially generate revenue. Do this because you love your people, you want to celebrate your people, you care deeply about the experience they have, and you want to share how much you love and appreciate them. And do it for the right reasons, and it will show up on the night of. Don't overthink it. Put a date on the calendar and run this event for your business if you want to create lifelong impact.